Witchy Mamas. I'm about to get Instagram up and running, YouTube. Oh, and YouTube. Hey, YouTube Witchy Mamas. I am just going to open this up on another page as usual while I'm also trying to get Instagram happening at the same time. Slowly and ineffectually, but we're trying. Let's see. Definitely not the backward facing camera. Nobody wants to see my jewelry collection. Alright. Hey, Instagram Witchy Mamas. This is Avani from Ecstatic Earth Arts, and I am here today. We are going to be chatting about, this is part of my Color Magic series. We're going to be talking about the color purple today, which I dressed for. I know my hair is kind of in the way. And in the meantime, while we give it a, hey, Jan Nelly here, talking about Color Magic today. We're going to be talking about purple. I just logged in, so I'm going to give it just a couple minutes for folks to show up. So feel free to hang around. While we're here waiting, please feel free to tell me what your favorite color is. So I have some ideas for maybe what to do next week, because I've been kind of letting other people choose. So let me know in the comments below. And if you're here, please hit hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching it on the replay, so that other folks can find us a little bit more easily. And I am actually trying to pull my own video up on Facebook. Hey, Instagram Witchy Mamas. This is Avani from there we go. Color is. Nope. There we go. Black. Oh, I did black 2 weeks ago, Jan. So if you go back on my feed, you'll see I have really cool makeup on in the picture. And that's the one on black. So you can totally go back and watch that. I've done black and I've done red already. And this week is purple because that's what everybody asked for. Pico Creations by Janet. We're going to be talking about Color Magic today. We're going to be talking about the color purple. Just give me a couple minutes for some folks to show up. If you want to be a favorite, throw a hashtag live in the comments, just so people can find us easier, and then let me know in the comments below what your favorite color is, so that we can decide what color we're going to do next week. Hey, Casey, doing Color Magic purple this week. Let me know in the comments what your favorite color is to help me decide what color we're going to do next week. I've already done black and red, and today's purple, so every other color is on the table, so let me know. I'm going to give it like 3 more minutes. In the meantime, while we're waiting, I thought that I would do a little show and tell of my personal favorite purple things. Number one is my dress that I'm wearing. I know I have a lot of cleavage in this dress, but it was my best purple thing I could find to show you. I got this dress from one of my wholesalers. I love it. See, Facebook is showing me there's people here, but it's not telling me who it is, which is really frustrating. So whoever you are on Facebook, please feel free to throw a hashtag live in the comments. I'm super happy you're here. And then, of course, I also am wearing my amethyst choker today. Wore special for you guys, too. I love chokers like this. It was kind of cute earlier today. My son, who is an infant, got really excited because I was wearing a new necklace. He thought that was like the best thing ever. I think I already waved. Let's do it again. And then, let's see. I also pulled out my staff, which I only generally use when I'm doing public ritual, and it's been a while since I've done that. You can see that there is purple in the bottom here, and then there is purple in this cording, and in the beads on here, and then there's also amethyst pieces in the top. I got this for a steal at a Ren fair. It's one of my favorite things that I don't get to use nearly as often as I'd like. Let's see, I have 2 more purple things, and we've got a minute to go, so that should work out just right. If you have a favorite purple thing you want to tell me about, let me know in the comments, too. I'd love to hear about it. This is also another amethyst geode. I love amethyst geodes. This one is really special to me because at one point I bought look, it still has a sticker on it. I bought this at a local store, and I gave a geode like this to all of my in-person, coven ladies, so that we would all have this sort of connection point on our altars, and I thought that was really nice. So this is really special, this particular amethyst. And then finally, before I jump into the actual video, I want to show you one of my absolute favorite wildflower. Happens to be gorgeous. Hey Sarah, glad you're here. She says the staff is gorgeous. Thank you. I also love it. If you've ever seen pictures of me from the Fairy Festival from a few years ago, I'm actually using that in the pictures, and it's very, very fancy looking. But my favorite wildflower is chicory. This is a card from my Herb Crafters Tarot, but I thought it was really convenient because it has the actual flower picture on it. as opposed to, I don't really have any of these. I have like some of them that are growing in my yard, but they haven't blossomed yet. So I can't show you the real thing, unfortunately. But these grow a lot on roadsides, especially in my region. And it's chicory. And I'd like to tell you that I know exactly what the medicinal properties are, but I don't, because I'm still kind of a newbie when it comes to learning herbs. So if you're into herbalism and you know what chicory is for, let us know in the comments. I would love to know and pass it on so everybody else knows what it's for. But I love this color, this kind of periwinkle bluish purple flower. I just think they're so pretty. And they seem to usually blossom right around 4th of July time. So there's tons of these right now. And it is officially 4:05, which is excellent. There are 5 people watching me on Facebook, so a bunch of people are here. I can't see that you're here, so if you could do me a favor and throw a hashtag live in the comments, I'll know you're here and I can say hi. And let's talk about color magic, because it's time. So first of all, obviously, like I said, this is part of my color magic series. So far I have done red and I've done black, and if you're new, please feel free to drop your favorite color in the comments below to give me an idea of what color you think you'd like to see me do next week. I've already done red and black, and this is obviously purple. So if there's another one that you'd like me to do next week, I would love to hear about it, because I think it's more fun that way than me just choosing an order. Last week, everybody voted for purple who gave input. So this week, you guys have to let me know what I'm going to do next week, so that I can start making all of my posts and stuff about it, so I can let everyone know. And also so I can plan my outfit, also very important. Because I'm going to be away next week, and I have to make sure I bring the right things with me. Sarah says that her engagement ring has an amethyst in it for her birthstone, which is the February birthstone, and I happen to know that because I have a sibling-in-law who is also an Aquarius who has amethyst. Casey on Facebook says green is their favorite. Green is one of my favorites too, so cool. We have a vote for green. If everybody has any other input, let me know. And so it was interesting. So we're doing purple today. And so I was doing a little bit of searching earlier today to decide what exactly I wanted to chat about. And I found out that purple is the second favorite color for women, I'm assuming in America, statistically speaking anyway. And it's kind of interesting because across the board in the entire country, everyone's favorite color, like statistically the majority's favorite color happens to be the same. If you want to take a guess on what you think the country's general favorite color is, I'd love to hear in the comments, because I think it's kind of a fun game. I think it's interesting that in the process of doing a video on color magic, that apparently all the witches really like purple. So of that group of people that have purple as their favorite color, who are the second favorite in the country, apparently we probably must make up most of that group. So now that we've established that, kind of just giving you the quick background. David, crap, am I a part woman? No, definitely not. This is not in any way a reflection on your character, but my ex's favorite color was purple. Also, purple is just an awesome color. I think that in men it was a little bit lower on the list, and I think that just has to do with like weird masculine stereotypes about what your favorite color should be. So if you like purple, that says actually some really nice things about you, in my opinion, that suggests that you're not afraid of being exhibiting your feminine side, which I think is wonderful, and the opposite of toxic masculinity. So go you. Purple is cool. So let's talk a little bit about purple in history. Hi, Wild Woman Wildlife. We're talking about color magic today. We're talking about the color purple. And I was just about to jump into talking about the history of purple. And purple is really cool, in my opinion, because it is widely, for a long time, they have thought of as a color of royalty, and there's actually a historical reason why that is. So the color purple and the dye purple was actually originally, hand created, and this is going to be really gross but interesting. It was originally created using the mucus from a very specific type of snail, and they would collect all the mucus and then expose it to sunlight, and then over the course of several hours, it would go through a few different color shifts where it would end at purple, and if they let it continue going, it would even turn like a deep red and get darker, darker, darker. So they had to leave it out for a very specific amount of time, and it could take up to 250 of these, like 50,000 of these teeny tiny little snails to create enough get enough of the mucus for like an ounce of dye. So because it was so difficult to come by, it was extremely expensive. So often, only people who were very, very rich or very wealthy could afford it. And it was called Tyrian purple, Tyrian, like, Tyrion from Game of Thrones, but with an A. So Tyrian purple was the color to wear if you were, royalty, because it said just in the act of wearing it, well, I am wealthy and I have money and I am a figure of authority. And the shade that they were most often interested in acquiring, these royal people, was actually a very reddish purple that is often now referred to as carmine, which is actually a little bit more red than it is purple, but they call it purple. Um, and apparently, um, the part of why purple was so popular among royalty too, in addition to the very fact that it was a commodity and that made it exciting, and oh well, if it's that rare I have to have it mentality, was that apparently they believed that purple actually resembled the color of dried or coagulated blood, and apparently that was symbolic of divinity. Now, I found that little tidbit in an article somewhere, and I have not anywhere been able to trace down exactly why the color of clotted blood was associated with divinity, but I kind of have some thoughts and ideas about maybe why. I have a feeling that it has to do with, like maybe the ability to, take someone's life without any repercussions. Like, oh, well, I can create a war. Or maybe it was more positive. Maybe it was the idea of blood as a symbol of life. And, I'm a symbol of life and hope. So therefore, the color of blood is a positive thing. It's hard to say. It was hard to find. I also saw some really weird references on the internet about how blood clots can be symbolic of a calling to the divine. I didn't read them too far because they were really Christian links, and I wasn't super interested in a lot of the content. But apparently, that's maybe a thing also. But in reference to the purple thing, not only did they like to wear purple, and did purple become so associated with royalty that there was a point in history where if there was a child that was born into a royal family, one of the things that they might say was that they were born into the purple. Much in the same way we might use the phrase, born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They were born into the purple because purple was so rare and special. And the other thing, too, is that purple is also considered to be the color of wine. Now, again, if you ever actually drink wine, you would know that wine is a very reddish color. So again, we're getting to that kind of reddish purpley range, which is kind of right in the middle somewhere. But that symbolically speaking, wine and blood are considered to be interchangeable. So again, the color purple then becomes also associated with a lot of the things that red is, especially as it comes to blood, because wine symbolizes blood. As far as representing the idea of the cycles of life and rebirth, and all the things that come with that. I hope you can hear the baby outside the door because he's making really cute squealing noises that are happy for once, so that's nice. So that's a little bit about purple in history, and I know that that's not necessarily magical, but I think that learning that history is a really important, valid part of a practice, because sometimes we get this idea in our head that certain symbolism is ancient. But the truth is that symbolism is something that is developed very slowly over time. And by understanding the way that our ancestors and people historically looked at a thing, really can help us come to a deeper understanding of why we associate things the way we do now. And I think one of the coolest examples of that, and I don't have any proof of this correlation, but I suspect really strongly that this is a big part of why we associate purple with psychic ability and connection to the divine. Which is one of the magical uses of purple. Purple, as a lot of the time, if you could think about royalty, kings and queens, they usually wore crowns, and crowns are also a symbol of divinity. And the idea of the crowns pointing up, and the same can be true of like the horn god with the antlers. When you're wearing something that is literally putting your height higher, the idea is that you're literally closer to God. So it was believed that kings and queens had a closer connection to God than did the average person. Same with the Pope. Think about how big the Pope's hat is. Same idea, same symbolism. So I think that's part of why purple has actually been associated with the idea of connection to the divine, because it's connected to royalty, and I think it's all intersected in some way, which is kind of neat. It's also associated with the intuition and psychic ability, which again, I think is still related to the connection with the divine. You're connected to the divine, you're connected to the source, you're connected to all the information that's at your disposal when you have that connection at your disposal. That's a terrible way of putting it, but that you have access to. And it's also associated, of course, with the third eye chakra, which is also associated with psychic ability. And of course, it is also associated with creativity. Other colors are associated with creativity too, but I like the idea of purple being associated with creativity, especially as it relates to things that are divinely inspired. So again, we come back to that theme of connection to the divine. And of course, it's also used in dream magic, especially as it comes to sort of inducing or encouraging psychic or prophetic dreaming. Is another thing that purple is often used for. So the question now is, now that you know these things about purple, how do you use it? And the most common way that people use color magic is through their dress, through their jewelry, through their tools, and my staff too, and what have you, and herbs, etc., etc. And of course in your decor. If you have a room that you have an altar in that you like to do read tarot for yourself, and you might want to put up a purple altar cloth because that could help you, perhaps, connect better to the divine and better, kind of channel the information that you're attempting to, acquire in the midst of your practice. And so that's the color purple. And that's really all I had today. And that's good because it took us 10-15 minutes, which is exactly what I was aiming for. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Again, if you haven't already weighed in about your favorite color, what color you'd like to hear about next week. Right now, green is in the lead. If you have a color that you'd rather hear about, let me know, because I'm totally on board for green if that's what people want. Oh, and let me know also, I asked earlier, if you have a guess about what the favorite color in our country typically is. I think it might be fun to see if people can guess, because it's kind of neat. And then also, while I'm waiting for your questions, I want to tell you kind of a little anecdote. I was talking about the idea of using purple in your living space or in your clothing. When I was in college, 15 years ago now. God, I'm old. 15 years ago now, I had this teacher who, she was a marketing professor. Her family had owned a marketing firm. So, but she was actually this really cool, spiritual lady who was actually a channeler. She channeled this particular angel. And actually, her name was Mushiba, and her organization is still, as far as I know, Facebook is frozen, but her organization still exists. And just trying to make sure that this is connected. I have a feeling it's not. Are we any better over here on Facebook? All right, cool. Sarah asked, do you think that the majority of us here like purple potentially being more connected to the psychic, or at least being open to it, because there was a majority last week and it kind of made sense? Absolutely, I think it is. I kind of mentioned earlier that I think of the population that, finds purple to be their favorite color. We're it's the second favorite in the country. I have a sneaking suspicion that a great majority of those women are witches or are witchy type folk. And I definitely think there's a connection. And I think even if not consciously, they subconsciously connect it to the idea of the divine and connecting into the higher self or the universe or the universal consciousness, however you want to phrase that. So anyway, this professor that I had, her organization is called Terralux, TerraLux.org, if you want to look her up, because she's totally still out there. And Mushiba channels this Archangel Waith. And this really cool thing about her is that for the entire time that I knew her, and I assume this to still be the case, she will only wear the color purple or gold or a little bit of white. And previously, I don't know if this is still the case, but she used to hold these channeling sessions in her home, and I went to a couple of them. And everything in her apartment is also purple or gold. So, for her, that was, I imagine, a big part of how she felt like she was able to sort of connect into all of these other entities that she was attempting to work with. And that was something that perhaps she channeled information that, purple was a color that she needed to surround herself with. So that everything she owned was purple. So it was kind of neat. So yeah. So unless there are any other questions, Sarah says we are all goddesses. Absolutely. We are all goddesses incarnate. We are all, the universe. We contain the universe. We are the universe. We are the multiverse. Anyway, I don't want to get too far off the rails here, but yes, we are absolutely all goddesses. And we all have, the power of the goddess within us, if only we believe in it enough to manifest those abilities and that power. So on that very, very positive note, I'm going to operate on doing green next week, which I'm excited about. Hopefully I have something green that I can wear because that's kind of a thing I've been doing. I hope that you guys all have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to be in Maine next week doing the color green on Friday. Hey, Stephen Woodward, we were talking about color magic. We were talking about purple. I'm actually wrapping up, and when I'm done, this is going to be on IGTV in my profile, so feel free to go back and watch it. It's also going to be posted on YouTube, and it's going to be posted on Facebook, which I'm also streaming on right now. But I'm going to be in Maine next week, so you'll have pretty trees in the background next week probably. For my book club, which I'm doing in my Facebook group, which is called The Witchy Mama, if you want to go find it, if you're on Instagram right now. We've been reading this book called The Last Child of the Woods by Richard Louv, which is about the shrinking wilderness and the positive effect that play in the wild has on children. But we're going through it real slowly because, us witchy mamas are like crazy busy all the time. But if you want to participate in that and you want to watch it, you can catch it in Facebook in my group, The Witchy Mama, and it's Witchy Mama Wine Club, which is like an extra topic within the group, and we have a chat room in the group that we use. So that'll be Saturday. Saturday is going to be kind of crazy. Usually it's at 8 o'clock at night, and the idea is I'm supposed to be drinking wine, but I'm going to be traveling, so I don't know if I'm going to actually have access to any such things. I might have like tea or something instead, but come chat with me. Come chat with us. Even if you haven't read the book, we would love to have your company. You can always play catch up because we're going slow. We're not that far in yet. I think I'm only doing chapters 4 and 5 as a review this week. Usually we do a big meeting every month, and then once a week I do a little check-in just so people don't forget, because once a month isn't very often. It's easy to lose track of. So I don't expect people to necessarily, usually the check-ins are just live videos like this. And then the big video, the big meeting we have is on Facebook Live, and it's the second Saturday of every month. So that said, I know I just blabbed a whole lot, but feel free to join. We'd love to have anybody and everybody. Even if you haven't read the book, I kind of give a little overview, so you'll have enough information to be able to follow along anyway. But you can also, of course, go buy the book on Amazon and play catch up. So anyway, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Blessed be, and enjoy yourselves, and everybody be safe and well. All right. Take care.